Create Your Life presents the Dream Bigger Extravaganza. 12 speakers reveal how they moved from fear to freedom and how you can too. Welcome. Okay, so it is my pleasure to introduce Traci Bild, a full-time mom with a multi-million-dollar business on the side. Traci built her organization, Bild and Company, on just 24 hours per week, landing on the 2013 Inc. list of America's fastest growing companies. Traci is living proof of the principles at work within the pages of her forthcoming book, Get Your Girl Back, and the movement itself. Featured in USA Today, The Wall Street Journal, Real Simple, and other media outlets for her expertise in business, Traci is positioned to do for women over the next 20 years exactly what she has done for businesses. Help them define what it is that they want and show them how to get it step by step. So, Traci, a warm welcome to you to the Dream Bigger Extravaganza. Yay!
I know. I'm so excited to be a part of this. It's awesome. Thank you.
Great. I'm so glad you're here with us today. So, to start, I like to go beyond the bio and really get more of the backstory. So, tell us a little bit about how you came to be the leader of the Get Your Girl Back movement, and how did it all begin?
Well, it really was birthed about 10 years ago, and I had my first baby, Paris, who's now 10, and I had been building my company, traveling, probably doing 10 seminars a month, which means you're on the road 20 days a month before I had kids. And then I realized I had to really review my priorities, and I realized that I didn't want to miss the first step. I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be consumed by guilt. So I just made a decision that I was going to cut my workload in half. So I shut down like my Main Street office, helped all my staff find other jobs, took my office back home, and then I was very scared. But I thought, you know what, if I do what's right and I set my goals around my priorities, it's all going to work out. And I really trusted that. And so then I started working part-time, and I went to a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday work schedule, and did not do anything on the other days but be full-time mom. And what I found was when I organized my priorities and I was really committed to them, just the energy, everything, my business started to grow actually. And I was more productive and I was happier, and I was able to, I always say, I don't want to have it all. I want to have everything I want. And it was a very specific list. And so I started to test my own boundaries, and it was amazing. The whole myth of working our tails off is the only way. We've got to work smart. And that's what I started to do. And it was awesome.
Wow. So you made this big leap of faith, and you were afraid at the time to, scale back your work hours to that degree. But then you found that actually you were being more productive, your business was growing, and you were able to do what you wanted to do, not have it all, but have what you want. I love that. That's such an important distinction. Yeah.
And you guys, you probably know, and our listeners in the corporate world, and I've always had my own business, but we're always told all these things about how, we need to work. And as moms, we're so conflicted because we want to work and we love what we do and we have passions, but we also need to be there for our kids. And guilt consumes so many women, including, I knew it would consume me because I'd worked with so many moms. So I was just trying to get a head start and not fall into that pattern that I'd seen with so many women. And, and today I help a lot of women understand how to create careers that allow them more flexibility and freedom. Or, if your priorities work, that's great. Just know what it is and don't feel guilty about it. Know what your priorities are.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. So where in all of this, did you lose your girl in the process?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I started writing this book, and I had my second child, Noah, who's now 8.
Right.
And I realized that I wasn't shopping at BB anymore, and the places where the sexy clothes were. I was on an Ann Taylor loft every day. I was wearing, I was wearing the Victoria's Secret sweatpants, and I wasn't really putting my makeup on every day, and I was just kind of complacent
Uh-huh.
and putting limits on myself. I was comfortable. And what
Mm.
happened is we moved, and I went into my new closet in our new house, and I found this box. It was a metal 10. And I was like, what's this? And I opened it up, and it was a box of love letters that spanned literally 20 years. So
Wow.
Dave and I started dating when we were 21. And they were all the letters I'd written to him from like 21 to 24, 25, and all the way up until I was probably 38, and they stopped. And
Huh.
when I was sitting on the floor, I was just going through all these letters, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I felt like a spy. Like I felt like I was reading the letters of my husband's mistress. I was like, who is this girl? She is amazing. And I just remember thinking that, like, no wonder he fell in love with her. Like every letter was
Wow.
so passionate and
Wow.
fun, and I believed in him, and I was always complimenting him and talking about the future and our dreams, and little pictures were drawn on everything, and it was like this girl wrote them. And then I noticed with each year, kind of, the letters got more serious and less fun and less dreamy. And I
Mm-hmm.
literally like saw through this moment the loss of my girl as I had kids, grew my business, took on more responsibility, bought the house. It's like with life, I saw her start to go away. So I made a decision that day. I tucked those letters back. I did not tell Dave I found them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want that girl back. I understand why he fell in love with her, and I'm not that same girl today. I actually felt sorry for him because I'd changed.
Huh.
So I wanted to get her back, and I thought, wow, that passion is incredible. So
Yeah.
that's when I really committed to the Get Your Girl Back movement.
Wow. Wow, that's such an incredible story, Traci. My goodness. You felt like a spy
I did. I'm like, who's
reading.
this chick in my husband's life? And I'm like, oh, it was you.
Yeah, like who is this girl? Oh, it's me. I lost my girl.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. I
Sure. Well, that's
really
where it
love it.
started. So.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Wow. So how do women start the journey to discover their girl, like and where she went, and most importantly, how to get her back?
Sure. Well, number one, a woman has to decide. So I have truths and I have dares in this movement. And so,
Okay.
truth number one is you have to really sit down and decide you want to change, that
Mm,
you want to transform your life. Because so many people for a day will say, oh, I have these New Year's resolutions. Oh, I'm going to set a goal. And a week later, they don't even know where they are. So for me, when you make a real decision in your life,
mm,
and you really decide to do it, it's transforming for people. So it's the truth is or the dare is to decide, okay, I'm going to do this, and not to let fear creep in and go, yeah, but if I decide to do it and I don't do it, I'm going to let myself down. It's don't worry about any of that. Just decide. I'm ready to transform my life. I want to be fun and spontaneous
mm.
again. I want to have adventure. I want to laugh until I cry again.
Yeah.
Because women, I find, and I've worked with them for 20 some years, we're so serious because we have
Hmm.
so much going on all the time, and we don't mean to be, right? But
Right.
it's like everything's flying at us and we're just in this like reactive mode.
Yeah.
So I want to help women slow down and like remember to live in the moment and dream bigger and get girly again. And remember what that's like to giggle and
I
have
love it.
fun and have girl talk, and you go on a date with your partner or friend or husband or whatever and have fun. So that's the dare number one, is decide I'm going to dare myself to
Yeah.
really right now transform my life.
That's so there's something I'm hearing in this that I want to just highlight is that you're really saying get clear on what you want to transform, but I'm not hearing like figure it all out in this stage. So it's really about defining what you want first, not
Mm-hmm.
needing to even figure out all the hows yet. Is that right?
Correct. And I
Yeah.
feel like that stops people. It's like we don't have all the answers, and I'm going to talk about more truths and dares in
Yeah.
this conversation today.
Hmm.
But really, I tell women we like to have control. We want to know what's going to happen. Girls don't think like that. They just
Yeah.
want to have fun. And I feel like we need to put fun back in our lives. And our souls are many times anxious and sad, and we have it all, but we don't know why we're not happy.
Yeah.
I feel like it's because we're not allowing ourselves to be. So that's why I'm just saying, just make the decision, and everything else is going to come. Let's take it one step at a time.
Yeah. Wasn't that a Cyndi Lauper song? Girls just want to
Yes,
have
you're
fun.
right. I thought about actually making that the movement theme song because, when
Uh-huh.
we hear it, it's kind of like put the windows down, let the wind blow through our hair and have fun.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is the sense I want us to have as women.
I love it. I love it. I have to say, if I could just jump in and tell a little of my own girl
Yes, I would
getting
love it.
backstory, this very extravaganza is a Get My Girl Back movement. Because I did a lot of theater growing up, and I see this as me getting back on the stage. When I was a girl, I auditioned for my first play. I was in fourth grade, and it was Alice in Wonderland, or I think it was the trial of Alice in Wonderland. But anyway, I just went and I was me in the audition, and I came home and shared with my family I got Alice. And it was just like, I got Alice. It wasn't a big deal to me. But when I saw the response, I was like, oh, this is a big deal? I don't know. I was just being me. I was just being me.
That's awesome.
So the key for that to me is that I just am a natural on a stage. I'm not meant to be in Hollywood. I'm really clear on that. But just being on the stage, and I had fallen off.
Wow.
And I was really, hiding. I did theater all through until college. I was a theater minor, but then I lost my girl along the way. So
Aw.
this is a igniting of that girl that loves to be on stage and like let
I
herself be
love
seen.
that. Well, and the
So
cool thing is your reach, your stage is the world right now
yeah,
because there's no limit to what
right.
your reach can be, right?
Right. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. So I'm really enjoying being back on the stage and getting my girl back. So thanks for letting me share
And I
that
want to
story.
say that what you just said for women, this is part of the whole movement. Like, you have to go back to what that girl wanted. Like, not what makes money, not what's prestigious and what your mom says you should do. It's what
Yeah.
did your girl dream of and find fulfilling. And when I hear you tell that story, it gives me goosebumps because women, we need to use our natural talents and gifts because that's when we are most successful and fulfilled. Just like
Mm.
what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah, it feels really, really good. So,
And on that, the truth is to figure out who your girl is. So many women have been buried in responsibility
yeah.
of being wife and mother and career and maid and cook and everything that they don't even remember. Like, oh, I used to love the theater. Like, they don't allow themselves to even stop and remember what brought them the deepest sense of joy. So
Mm.
the truth I ask that women do that are participating in this extravaganza is just sit down, like go to Starbucks or go to a coffee shop, sit down and relax. Give yourself that time with a little journal and think about what did I always love doing and what would I do
Mm.
for free if I could do anything?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to tap into, just like you did.
Thank you. That's very cool. Yeah. Remember, what would I do if I could do it for free? Like, what's just fun for me? What did my girl love? I love this whole conversation. So tell us about guilt. You mentioned guilt earlier and the role that plays for women. Tell us
Oh,
more about that.
it's huge. So when I started speaking, I literally would say I've been in every cow town in this country. I've been to Amish country, from Seattle to the furthest points of South, speaking to women.
Yeah.
And after every conference, the one thing I saw in common, and it's tragic, is this guilt about
Mm.
success. And I'm just going to say it because a lot of women won't say it. And
Ah.
I had this, and this is when I noticed I was putting limits on myself, even though I didn't think I was. And this is part of the whole Get Your Girl Back movement. You've got to put it all out there. But we had this fear that, okay, well, I'm already successful, right? I've reached a moderate level of success. I've got my beautiful home, nice cars, my perfect little family. I don't want for anything. How dare I want for more? And then what we really think is, besides, if I get more, something can happen to my kid. My marriage my marriage will fall apart. There's a price to pay for that.
Mm.
And no one talks about this, but every conversation when I was trying to help a woman go to the next level in business, I would drill down to this thing where the guilt over making more money than their husband, what that would cause in their marriage,
Mm.
the guilt over just being more successful and
Yeah.
what that would bring in their life, over making more than their friends or achieving their dreams while their friends don't. Just there's all this constant guilt, religious guilt about making money.
Yeah.
So this was one of the hardest things for me because my ultimate fear, and I'm just going to say it, was that if I reached the pinnacle of success where I'm going with this movement, that I would lose my marriage because you can have it all. You cannot reach the levels of success. I'm trying to reach like as many women in the world as I can. So the price for me is that I'm going to have to sacrifice my number one dream is to stay married my entire life to my husband so that our children have us as a unit. And I never had that in my family. So that plagued on my fear that, well, if you are that successful, you're going to pay. So I did really, so in writing Get Your Girl Back, I found ways to pull out what those fears are for myself. And I've been able to help other people. And it's really scary because you have to get really raw about what those true deep-seated fears are that create the guilt, and it's parental upbringing and the pressures our parents put on us that we bring into our own adult lives.
Yeah.
It's we got to break through, and then there's no limit on anything.
I love how you ended it. And then when you've broken through the guilt for success barrier, then there's no limit on anything. That's fabulous.
It's huge for women. I call it the handcuffs of guilt. We wear them, and we fight. I still struggle with it a little bit, but I say no, get out of my head, right? Have you ever experienced that?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Where you reach a level and then you're like, okay, I'm here. I reached here. Now what? Right?
Or do you say, this is good enough. I'm happy.
Yeah. How much?
I should want more.
Definitely. And it's really not about wanting more. And this is the key too that I know for you. You're saying I want to reach more women.
Oh yeah, it's not about money. It's about more like I want to help women completely understand how to use their minds.
Yes.
And their thoughts to get where they're going.
Yes.
I have everything I need and want. This is like a mission. And I would say, why do I care so much about women? But I do. And I was raised by a single mom. I trained women for 20 years. They hold such a deep place in my heart. And I think a woman can do anything if you just empower her. Yeah. So truth number 3 for women is confront the guilt because it's holding you prisoner to the past. And it's holding you, keeping you from the future. And it may be even not-for-profit where you don't make a dime, but that guilt over just what's going to be the price I have to pay for this success, however you define success. Let's address that and be real about what's going on up here.
Awesome. I know that folks watching are definitely asking themselves, okay, what is it for me? Where am I stopping myself? And what is my story about guilt? About success and being your biggest, boldest girl in the world. So that's uber powerful.
Yeah. And I say it's a taboo subject. People don't like to talk about it.
No.
Because like you mentioned, and it's just those scary, scary thoughts. It took me a long time to get them out onto paper to myself about, okay, I don't want to lose a kid. I don't want my marriage to end. But once I did, I was like, this is ridiculous. That's not going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen anyways. Not because I'm successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know what? You were saying people don't like to talk about it, but we do.
Yeah, that's it. When you can't dream bigger, right? If you're holding yourself back.
That's right. Absolutely not. This is so important. So thank you so much for highlighting that.
Sure.
You're talking about thoughts and using your brain to create your world and create your reality. So I know you do something called brain games.
Oh, yes, I love them.
Yeah? So what exactly are brain games and how can they help?
Okay, I love brain games. And this was part of me developing the Get Your Girl Back movement. And, back then it didn't have a name, Get Your Girl Back, right? It was just this, I was doing it for myself initially because I liked who I was, but I knew I was not where I should be mentally. Like I was capable of so much more. So I noticed that, and you've probably seen this, but I would set goals and I'd hit them. So I'm a big believer in goal setting. I always would take action. I followed through. And then I realized one day I can do more. So I'm going to see what happens if I just rely on my mind to manifest this thing. And I'm going to see if I'm holding myself back. So I started setting very aggressive goals. So for example, my business, I thought, okay, for next quarter, and I wrote it onto a business deposit slip. I tripled my sales revenue. And I'm like, I'm going to see what happens. Because this is insane. There's no way I'm going to hit this. I've never done this before. And I put that deposit slip up and I said, mind, I want you to hit this goal. I want you to get this. I don't care how it gets here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. So I gave my brain a job, and then I just set forth doing what I always did. And I'm going to tell you something. And this is part of brain games. You can't worry about the how. You really have to tell your mind what you want it to do. And I started playing games with my mind from little things too. So, okay, if I can't find my keys and I'm running all over, I would stop and go, okay, stop looking. Brain, show me my keys. I need them now. Thank you. And then you have to walk away, not try to look for them. Boom, my keys would show up. So I would try it on the smallest things to the biggest things. And I've got all my dream books here because I'm going to reference a few things. And it blew my mind. So, the little things I would hit, the big things like the deposit slip. And then I doubled that goal again. And I hit it again. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is the secret right here. We just have to use our minds more. And now it's been 10 years later. I use this in everything I do. It's not what can we do, what are our capabilities. It's what can we empower our minds to think bigger and then just trust it to happen. But you do have to put work behind it. So the brain game is choosing the game you want to play. And for me right now, I'm doing a really big brain game for Get Your Girl Back. I need a massive celebrity to write the forward. And I'm like, I don't care how, who, but I'm getting someone incredible. And just last week, I have 3 massive celebrities like reading my book right now. Yay. And, a month ago, I thought, inside I'd be like, I must be crazy. I don't have celebrities on Rolodex, right? But I'm like, I don't care. Brain, find them. And I know without a doubt, it's going to happen. And you have to trust, not judge or question yourself. And when those negative, fearful thoughts come in, think of the bully in the playground. You have to say, and put on top of it a positive thought about what you want. So keeping the focus on what you want versus what you don't want. And just keep playing the games.
Traci, you're delightful. I'm loving every second of this. So I gave my brain a job. I love that. It was like, you're hired. Go do that.
And you've got it right here. But think about, this because you deal with so many people as well. Yeah. We put so much focus on what we can't do, don't know how to do, don't want. We don't mean to, but we're afraid to believe in ourselves because if we fail, we think, well, then I'm going to be let down. I don't care anymore. I'm like, you just have to trust. No, it's going to happen. And then what I've learned is if it doesn't, you get so close, you don't even know what you failed on because you're so excited about the outcome.
That's awesome too. Yeah, so this speaks to what I like to call the cosmic joke of dream realization.
Like that.
Which is that what comes before how. And you've said this a few times that you don't have to figure out how when you assign your brain a job.
Yes.
It's like, here's your task. And that's the end of it for now. You don't have to figure out how in this moment. That's so good.
And I want to show you something. You're going to laugh. So this was 20-some years ago. I don't know if people can see this, but I wrote this when I was waiting tables, and it says, my dream is to be a motivational speaker, right? I will help others become the best they can be, continue to grow and read from the master motivators of the world. Well, this is when I was like 21, in an apartment, waiting tables at night, building some little business during the day. I had no idea how to even become a speaker, right? I didn't have a book. I didn't have anything.
Totally.
And, I look back at this today and I'm like, writing it down is half the job, right? Mm-hmm. It's so powerful.
Yeah. It's so good. These words, job and hiring your brain, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it really is half the job. And I so relate to serving coffee. And I was an omelet chef for a while there.
I love omelet chef. That's so cute.
I can make a mean omelet now. But
that's awesome.
So let's talk about priorities. You've spoken to that a little bit because it's so easy, I think for women especially, to really feel pulled in multiple directions, and like there's just simply too much to do. So can you talk to us a bit about setting priorities and how you recommend going about getting clear on what's important and then ensuring that you live out what's truly important, no matter what?
Yes, I'm super passionate about this because, most of us learn to set goals at a job. Maybe we're in sales or we go to work. And what I realized early on was I would set these goals for work or my business, and it was great, but it didn't really change my level of deep-seated happiness. Uh-huh. So I thought what really makes me happy is my relationships, my spiritual, physical, mental well-being, how I feel on a daily basis, my health. So I started setting two sets of goals. One was career, one was personal. So personal and professional. And I've done this now for like 20 years. And I would put them on the refrigerator. And I remember people would laugh, they'd come in, they'd write on them. I'm like, who does that? But they would. They thought I was crazy. Like one would have the things I want to accomplish in my work. And then the other was the priorities in my life. Like, and every year it'd be, I want spiritual, physical, mental well-being. And I would jot 3 to 4 action steps. Well, how am I going to get that? I'm going to meditate daily. I'm going to walk 3 times a week. I'm going to read at least, 2 books a month. Yeah. And then the second goal was always, to have a fulfilling, exciting, adventurous relationship with Dave, right? And then he became my husband, so it became that. And that morphed into with my children. And then I would have something else personal, like to become more organized, to master gardening or cooking. Mm-hmm. And so I found those goals in my personal life fulfilled me much more than the professional goals. Mm-hmm. That was a means to an end, but the things that mattered are those things that we experience emotionally and connecting every day with the people we love. Yeah. So I started setting my goals and I started teaching people to set their goals that way. And it sounds strange, but I thought more people would know about that, but they don't. They don't realize. So I can put like that I want spiritual, physical, and mental well-being on my goal list. I mean, absolutely. And to have an amazing relationship, it takes work. So how are you going to do that? So for me, it's date night every week, communication, remembering to laugh, dinner as a family. That's right there at the top of my goal list. So when you set your goals like this, you have to first prioritize. So in your personal life, what does matter to you most? For some it's, their family. For some it's their faith. For some it's their health. Well, whatever it is, who cares what everybody else thinks? Yeah. Write it down and then set a goal around it with very definitive action steps that'll help you make sure you maintain that. And so you're prioritizing. And so for me, that's how I realized I had to shut down my Main Street office. I was like, look, career is a goal, but my newborn children here are more of a goal. So I had to move them up on the list and move my business down. And it scared me, like I said, half to death. But I've learned when you set your goals around what matters most in here, you will be so much more fulfilled, happy, and successful in general, whether you define that by money or just for, impacting lives. And, there's tough decisions to make around that. So if you're working 70 hours a week and you're ridden by guilt because you're putting your kids to bed basically at night, then you have to decide which is your priority. And if it's work, and I've counseled women on this, if it's work and that really is your priority, don't be ashamed, just own it. And then when you're out there working and your husband or your nanny, whoever's putting them to bed, own that. Because otherwise it's going to just say to them, I'm creating a legacy for you, and this is important. Mm-hmm. I'll be here in the morning or whatever, but you have to define them and live by them, and then don't look back. You can readjust, but don't let other people start tearing at those and questioning them and creating confusion. So priorities are so important.
Again, I just love it. So one key thing there about spiritual, mental, physical well-being, then you went that step further and got clear about like, what does that look like to me? Mm-hmm. So it might be reading 2 books a month, as you named one example. So then making it tangible, making it real in the world. Like, what would that look
And what's important is when you post those goals and you read them, like, and I noticed this morning, I was like, oh, I haven't meditated like in a week. Like I created a little meditation deck. It's on my balcony, and I just spent 5 minutes out there. Yeah. But when you see the goal, you'll go, oh, I haven't done that. Or like you'll go, oh, I haven't been on a date night. And then your mind goes, oh, we better do that. It's like your team, remember, up here. Your subconscious will read the goals and the actions and start making you more aware and help you to stay on task. And no one's perfect. I get off task. But the thing is, I get back on really quick because they're my map.
So it's a touchstone for you.
Yeah, really, and for when people start doing that, and 2, it makes them feel good because it's really in line with who they are as a person, not who they're supposed to be. We have to be true to ourselves to really live the dream.
Mm-hmm. So you can't be someone else's girl.
No, you gotta be your girl. And that's why people go, who is your girl? I can't really define it because I say, well, for me, it's different than it might be for you. But I capture that girl as the girl who thought she could do anything. She was young enough and naive enough, and my daughter's 10, I see it every day. She thinks she can do anything, but I've also seen 2 instances where I went, oh my gosh, she's losing her girl. She's losing her girl. Like she didn't do well in a gymnastics meet, and she held it in for a year, and one day she started crying in the car and said, we lost state because of me, and I was like, oh, have you been, she's like, I've been carrying this around for a year. And I was like, what? And I thought that she's
Oh,
already starting to lose her girl. She's been questioning and doubting herself and her ability
yeah,
all this time.
yeah.
So we have to find our goal to help our daughters make sure they don't ever lose theirs.
And our nieces.
Yes. And our sisters,
And our
and our
sisters.
sister-in-laws. I mean, the sister-in-laws and,
All of it.
and again, getting your girl back, you don't get her back and keep her. It's a freaking daily battle to keep her.
Can you say more about that? Can you say more about that?
Oh, it's a daily battle. All I would say on that is, it's not like you wake up, you define your girl, but it's keeping her. And that's why I always say if it takes a little bit of effort every day
Yeah.
to like center yourself
Yeah.
and go, okay. And that's why those goals and priorities are so important, because we get caught in the rat race of life. But I'm just like you and everybody else. There's days my mind starts to take over and doubt will start to creep in.
Yeah.
And then I'll realize I haven't exercised for like 5 days. I'm not meditating, and I start to feel like crap. But then I'll like, why do I feel this way? I get anxiety. And then I
Yeah.
realize, wait. I got to get back in the driver's seat. And I think the key to get your girl back is you'll start to recognize it really fast so a year doesn't go by and you've not connected with your best friend and now you're feeling guilty, right? You realize that a month later, I need to call Susan or whoever.
Yeah.
You're just more on top of realizing this life is very short and I got to make it what I can while I'm here. I want to enjoy this. I want to live my life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not a part-time job getting
No.
your girl back. It's something you have to show up for every day.
It's awareness about your life, being aware.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just as easy to be happy as it is to be sad and grumpy, right?
It sure
They both
doesn't
take
take
effort.
That's right. Doesn't take any more time or energy. Either way, they're happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important.
Look how happy you are doing this. So now you're on the stage again, right?
Yeah, it
How
feels
does that feel that you took the action to make that happen?
It feels great. It feels awesome. Thank you for asking that. You're so sweet. Yeah, it feels amazing. It feels
And like you
amazing.
glow. You might not see it, but you glow. And you have this joy in you that's, I don't know, I just want women to have that everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too. We're on the same mission.
I think we are.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to be connecting and sharing it with you. It's beautiful. So I know you have some other truths and dares for us. Anything else you want to share around that?
Yeah, I want to go back real quick, and I'm not sure we left off with truth 3, which is to confront the guilt. But dare 3 is you've got to decide. We talked about deciding. Just you got to let it go. Like the guilt. Someone tried to guilt me yesterday, and it was my daughter actually. And I looked at her and I said, "Do not do this to me. You're not going to guilt me. I know what you're doing, and I'm not going to accept it. So just deal with whatever's going on." And I walked away, and it felt so good. And when my mom will do things to put guilt, which all of our mothers do, right? I'll just say, no, do not accept that. And you know what? Now it's like a muscle. It gets stronger. At first, it's like, ugh. But now it's where I realize, no, I am a good mom. I am a good daughter. I'm not going to take this guilt crap. So you kind of learn to like deflect it, and it feels so darn good, like a superhero. Therefore is to think differently. So we talked about brain games. You got to dare yourself to change your pattern of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And for many of us, I thought everybody grew up learning. Like my mom, we had a very difficult childhood and circumstances. So my mom was always saying to me, "You can do anything. Don't be like me. Go make something great with your life." And I just thought everybody was raised that way. And what I've learned in working with women is no, they weren't. I mean, people had very abusive situations, people that tore down their self-esteem, never believed in them. So all of us, however we're raised, therefore is you must be the adult now and train yourself to think differently and support people around you to think differently, meaning keep the focus on what you want. And what's natural is what we don't want, what we're scared of, the failure, the fears. And when you start to fight back and replace them with you do want, you're building that muscle, and you start to reprogram your mind. And it's amazing because then you start to realize, wow, this stuff works.
Wow.
What I think, I get. How weird is that? I mean, it is kind of spooky, but it's real. And I don't care how it works. I just love that it works. And I want more people to experience that. So I just wanted to cover those dares. And then dare number 5, we talked about priorities, is to decide to make yourself a priority. You know, get the mammogram. You know, I always think about my mother-in-law. She died at 56, and she did not put herself on the darn list. You know, she didn't go get her mammogram. She just kept putting it off, and it was stage 4 breast cancer, and she died 2 years later. And I always think about if she just would have made it on the darn list, she would know her grandchildren. She would be here for, her daughter's children and marriages and weddings, but she's not because she didn't make it on the list. So we've got to get on the list every day, just 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, nobody wins when you're neglected.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And we know like breast cancer is so like our age group, it's just everywhere. And, women we are so busy taking care of everybody around us, and we need to like find time to go do that meditation, to, if you're juicing, make that juice for yourself, to go for the walk, to go to a bookstore and just find the place or in your garden that brings you 5-10 minutes of peace. It's so important. So get on the list. I wanted to really address that.
Not just on the list, I'm hearing it as priority number 1.
Well, it is, because you're no good if you're not in top state.
Yep.
You're going to be less for the people around you who depend on you anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been great. Any other truths or dares before we?
Yes, because this one I think there's more on what we were talking about for this whole extravaganza. Which thank you for including me, because my whole team, we're having a meeting at 10:30 today, and we're going to be like getting the word out about this because we're so excited. I mean, women need this. We can do it from home, which is great. But truth 5 is to define the dream. So we've got this dream extravaganza. We have all this talent that people can listen to. I mean, I would have killed for this kind of event when I was in my 20s, 30s. It's so amazing that you're bringing this. So define the dream and keep the focus on what you want. And then the dare, number 6, is after you listen to all these presenters and this whole program, is map the dream. Map it out. What is it and how are you going to get there? And if you can do that with the other things we've talked about and prioritize it, I mean, there's so much to get out of this life, and people will just drink in the beauty. I always say fountain of youth is not how we look, it's how we feel. That's the fountain of youth. So take a drink and just dive in. Yeah, I just want to say the most important thing for any woman or man watching is that the greatest asset we have is between our ears. And we just don't take the time to program, to read, to learn, to think, to be still, and to find your dream, to prioritize, to figure out if you're looking for your soulmate or partner, all of that. You have to stop and think. And we're so busy doing, and we're on all this the cell phones and technology. It's you got to stop and just be still so that you can map the dream. Otherwise, you're just going to get what comes. And I think so many people would rather get it defined how they want.
That's so important. So you're just going to get what comes if you don't stop and get intentional about what you want and how you're going to get there, and putting those wheels in motion. And it happens one day at a time by showing up for the job of you and putting yourself first. And in the process, look how many get served.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I always say, look, you're going to be here in a year or 2 or 5 years anyways, right? You may as well be here doing what you want, how you want to do it, and the way you want to do it. So don't rush. Just enjoy the moment, but get control. And I always get your girl back about finding your mojo. Get your mojo and let's go do it. That's kind of what it's about.
I think we need to hang out.
I know. That would be awesome, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm going to follow up about that. I think we need to meet in person. So
I would love that.
Yeah, this has been so great. So how do you recommend that someone get started and realize those dreams that matter most to them? I know you have a free special gift for us, so tell us about how to get started and keep this energy moving forward.
Well, my gift is more in the power of words. And I want to encourage people to go to my website at GYGB, so getyourgirlback.com. They can download the, and I'm sorry, if you have it on another section, let me know, just correct me. But you can get the first chapter of Get Your Girl Back and start empowering yourself to, you'll see kind of who is my girl? You'll get on that path. Yeah. And then I also want to make sure people know Notes from Your Girl is just a one-sentence note that comes every day in your inbox, but it doesn't have my name. It doesn't have any kind of advertising. It's literally to empower and start working on that mental programming. It's just a little note that literally reaches into your heart, grabs it, and reminds you of who your girl was to really get you thinking, and it kind of taps into your soul. So that's really important for people. And if anybody has questions, I just want to say too, I have this little just question site, asktraci.com. They can ask me personal questions. like, I don't know how to prioritize, or, I'm in a horrible marriage and I don't even know how to turn it around. And I do take the time to respond to those myself.
Okay.
Because I feel like people need answers and
Yeah.
we don't always know where to go. And I remember being young and people would want to charge me for answers. And I always swore I will mentor and give back till the day I die, because so many people don't do that. And you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I love to do that. We have to lift each other and support one another up. So that's really important. But is there anything I left off on that? Because I came so prepared for the content, I forgot about that.
No worries. Yeah, the chapter 1 of your book is such an awesome, generous gift. That's fantastic. And then the notes from what did you say? I want to say the universe.
Oh, notes from your girl.
From your girl. Notes from your girl.
And that's on the website as well. And I wanted, so I don't confuse people, the book's not coming out till 2015 because we're now down that celebrity.
Yep.
So, the first chapter in the notes from the girl is how people are really getting involved in the Get Your Girl Back movement Facebook, because it's really about reminding you every day mentally to stay on your game. That's my goal with those tools.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Traci.
Thank you. And hey, are you where are you located again?
Rhode Island.
I thought you were Rhode Island. Okay. I'm in New Jersey and New York a lot up that way, so we might have to get together.
Yeah, I'm actually heading to New York in 2 weeks to go salsa dancing.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny. I have to say, when you were talking about let's get our girl backs together, I was laughing thinking I have a laser light for my house. Women want to do something fun, a laser light. We dance every Friday night, and your girl comes out like no tomorrow, like just be crazy. And I love you're going salsa dancing. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for including me.
Thank you again for making time for this and making it a priority. So appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Have a great rest of the day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Bye.